I didn't announce it, but I would just say,
We know you guys are all chit-chatting and enjoying your lunch, but we're gonna go ahead and get started with our lunch program. Mainly so that you guys can go and enjoy the gardens while you're here and while it seems to be quite a lovely day. If you got out of Mitchell Hall, so it's pretty nice. So I'm Erin Gangloff. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for the Colorado Golf Association, and I want to formally welcome all of you. I know I've been in some sessions with you today, but I want to welcome you all here to the Denver Botanic Gardens and to our Women's Summit. It is so exciting to be back in person. The last time that we had an actual summit in person was about a week before the pandemic shut down in 2020. We kind of snuck it in, whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, not quite sure on that one. But we're really happy that you all are either here with us in person or you are joining us online for this day. Hopefully you've had some great takeaways. Hopefully you've learned how to become a golf genius. I know that all of you are really excited to get those resistance bands and start stretching. A little bit of a magic trick I learned during the break was those resistance bands that are on your table, there's actually 2 of them. So for some of you that said, oh, they're not quite tight enough, at the knot, you can undo them and you have 2 resistance bands instead of 1. So there's a little bit of magic right there for you. For all of our presentations today, we have been recording those and we will put those online. You will receive a post email in the coming days that will have all of the handouts in case you missed something or didn't see it, or if you were online. We will send all of that to you. The YouTube video that Maggie and Steph were referencing, we will have that right on our website for you to view. So everything that you saw today, as well as Maggie and Steph, not only did they go and do the YouTube video, they went ahead and also did a handout printout so that you can actually take it with you to the golf course as well. So all of that will be online. So we hope that you check into that and utilize that. But I want to thank all of our speakers today. I want to thank Justin Scott with Golf Genius, Steph and Maggie for doing all of our workout up here. We had Neil Walkenoff as the medical director for the Colorado Center for Health and Sports Science. So thank you for that. I know I'll be, of course, walking this summer, but I'll be doing it with a caddy instead of a trolley. And of course, our CGA staffers, Kate and Ashley, for their rules presentation. Can we give them all a round of applause? So as you know, we've had this theme for quite some time, that the CGA membership means more. And we really do believe that we are more than just a handicap, right? We want to give you offerings like today, our women's clinics, our member play days, all of our members own benefits. So again, I know I talked about this in our club roundtable, but in your packet, you have some great brochures about the Colorado Golf Association and all of our offerings. We hope you take that and you share that, whether you're sharing that with your league members, or maybe it's with a friend who is thinking about, giving up pickleball and trying out golf. Really, really enjoy having more players and more people in the game throughout. Additionally, you will notice it was up and it was scrolling, but we also want to celebrate all of the achievements that you guys have had in your own leagues. And that's your club champions. So we were scrolling all of your club champions. If a name wasn't red, that means they are attending either virtually or here in the room. But we want to congratulate all of you on a great 2022 season. And we look forward to seeing what you'll do in 2023. Additionally, you saw our players of the year. Leah Devane was our women's player of the year. Marilyn Hardy was our senior player of the year. Kaylee Chin was our girls player of the year. And then our club of the year for 2022 was Common Ground Ladies League. So let's give them all a round of applause. Again, this is a day of celebration for us and for women's golf. And the biggest thing too is everything that you guys do in your leagues. Now we know you go out and you play your rounds of golf and you have social hour afterward with your birdie juice. We will never take that away from you because that is so important. But you guys also go above and beyond in your leagues, and we know that. Many of you are raising money, whether it's for breast cancer research, maybe it's for Alzheimer's. Some go into schools and read to kids, those are public reading programs. Some are serving at soup kitchens or helping out at food banks. We hear that and we know that, and it is so important because golf is a community, and the more that we can do, we're just much more than what we do in our 18 or 9-hole rack. So again, a round of applause for everything that you guys are doing. So at this time, I'm going to bring up our CGA board president, Gary Albrecht. Gary has been on the board since 2012. I got to know Gary really a lot through our caddy program out at Common Ground, our Sports Caddy and Leadership Academy. And a fun fact, he was a German teacher, taught high school German. So if you know German, you can talk to him later. If you don't, then that's okay too. So anyways, I'm gonna have Gary come up and kind of give you an overview of what's going on with the CGA.
Thank you, Aaron, especially for pointing out what I did 40-some years ago. But even more importantly than being a German teacher, I played golf for over 50 years. So I want to circle back to that later. I can tell you that the length of time doesn't necessarily translate into better play, but I'm working hard. Aaron did a wonderful job, as I think everyone has recognized. I've been to a few of these now, and thankfully we're back together again doing them. This was really one of the best ones that I've been to. I can say that, and especially the rules seminar that Ashley and Kate put on. I can vouch for the fact that the rules of golf are an onion that you peel. Every time I get into a real crazy rule situation, I want to cry. As you try to peel back that onion and understand. Thankfully, we've got some real talented people on staff and at the tournaments who can guide us through those. Big thank you to Denver Botanic Gardens for hosting us. Wonderful food, great venue. This is and as a side note, we at the CGA are really excited about an emerging relationship that we are working on with the Denver Botanic Gardens. For example, they're going to do a floristic study at Common Ground. Common Ground has a total of about 330 acres of land. And I was at a meeting yesterday with the Denver Botanic Gardens people, including a PhD in ecology, and she mentioned there were 160 different non-native species of plants at Common. I mean, that's mind-boggling. Combine that with the wildlife that's there, the native species that are there, and the work we're doing. They've seeded 6 test plots with different grasses and plants to see what will thrive. It's really an exciting time, and we have some really big ideas that we're going to run down with Denver Botanic Gardens, and I think it would be an amazing collaboration or partnership. So we look forward to that. Also want to recognize the Colorado Golf Association Board of Directors who are here. We have our first quarterly board meeting after this meeting. We have 29 volunteers who are on the board, and I think you'll be pleased to know that half of them, actually 14, are females. And our executive committee, I think that is worth celebrating. Our executive committee is also comprised of half are women. So we work very hard at being as diverse and inclusive as we can. Would the board members who are here please stand up and be recognized? As some of you may know, there was a separate, I'm sure all of you know, there was a Colorado Women's Golf Association until 2018. And in 2018, we integrated our operations, and this is our 5-year anniversary. I think it's been a very successful collaboration and integration. including for the reasons I mentioned. But we have a record number of female members of the CGA. We have a record number of women playing in the CGA sponsored golf tournaments. And we just want to continue to grow on that success. So thank you for being a member of the CGA. Thank you for participating in the events that you participate in. And really, thanks for bringing other women that you know into the game, especially young women, because that's how we have to keep this pipeline filled. And, you know, the CGA already does amazing things. We want Colorado to really be the beacon for amateur golf around the country. And I think it's already a long way there. You know, more evidence of the momentum that we've gathered with women in golf is the recent Evans Scholar Selection Committee meeting that was held in January of this year at Denver Country Club. There were 14 Evans scholarships awarded. And for those of you who may not know, that's a full tuition and housing scholarship at the University of Colorado. So it's a very valuable for 4 years. And it goes to students who have the income eligibility requirements, meet those requirements, who show strong leadership skills and traits and have strong character and have caddied for at least 2 years. Of the 14 awards, Evans scholarships that were awarded, 11 were females. And I think as important, you may have heard of the Solich Caddy and Leadership Academy, and it was started at Common Ground. Of the 11, 7 of the scholarship recipients came out of the Solich Caddy and Leadership Academy. And 2 of them came out of the CGA sponsored academy at the Broadmoor Caddy and Leadership Academy. So it just is proof that the academy that was put together with the support of the Solich brothers, Jeff and Duffy and George, has really worked well. We have a total of 40 caddies who came out of the Solich Academy since it started in 2012 who have received the Evans Scholarship. And that is a life-changing opportunity. Let's see. Ed doesn't talk much, but he writes a lot. So.
But he doesn't.
I think like I said, the sessions here today were amazing. Dr. Wolkodoff explaining, you know, why we should do what we should be doing, walking, especially when we play golf, getting in the gym and doing weight training. I know I'm inspired. I think about it all the time because I play a lot of golf and I play a lot of tournament golf. But I think I just needed that little kick in the butt to make sure that I make it a regular part of my routine. Interesting fact, I guess, a few years ago, I participated in a charity golf event, fundraiser out at Ballyneal, which is a really cool course in Eastern Colorado. And there was a guy who was there who played 180 holes of golf in one day on foot. He did not carry his bag. He walked 48 miles and went over 100,000 steps. He raised a lot of money for his charity. So, you know, that is the one-off. That's pretty amazing. He was a Superman, but just one other question before I wrap it up, because I know there's other things to go on. How many of you have played golf at Common Ground with a caddy, one of our Solich Caddy and Leadership Academy caddies? If you do nothing else this year, try to get out there and do that. It is an amazing experience. We have these amazing kids that we bring in who are so motivated, so hardworking, so sweet, and they want to learn how to relate to adults, and they want to get better. You know, they're not going to be great at reading your putts or clubbing you, but they're going to be great companions. They're very interesting, and they're going to be interested in who you are as well. So please try to get out there and do that. It would be well worth your time and effort to do that. So with having said that, here's to a great 2023. May the birdie juice flow, or if you pay dollars, you know, I hope you get rich making birdies, but have a great year. Thanks again for your support at CGA.
Thank you, Gary. I'm now going to bring up Ashley Harold to talk to us about, we've got some great opportunities this summer. We've got a lot of championship golf that's going to be happening. So he's going to give us a little bit more.
I'm back, but without a hat this time. We are welcoming 2 USGA National Championships to Colorado this year, which is really rare. And it's really exciting for us here in Colorado. This does happen sometimes in the warm weather states, but this is a big deal for Colorado. So as much as you would like to be involved, we would love to have you as part of this. The most important, not importantly, most exciting to me is the U.S. Girls Junior Championship. We'll have 156 of the world's best female junior golfers at Eisenhower Golf Course in Colorado Springs on the Air Force Academy at the end of July. We have a lot of volunteer spots that we need to be filled for that in a lot of different areas. So you can come as an individual, you can come as a league. If there are a group of you from your league that want to carpool down, we have a spot for you to indicate that on the volunteer registration form. We'll make sure you're volunteering together. It will be lovely. It will be fun. So check it out. You'll find it on the CGA webpage. There's also a flyer in your packet from today with more information and QR codes to get registered for that. The USAM is also coming to Cherry Hills just a few weeks later. They will be opening their volunteer registration to the public the 3rd week of March. So stay tuned on that. You'll be getting information through your CGA emails for both of those.
All right, we look forward to having you guys all out there volunteering. It is very exciting to have those championships here this year. All right, so now to our keynote speakers. So I'm going to bring up Ed Nate, our executive director for the Colorado Golf Association. Many of you probably know Ed from his rules videos, right? He's a fantastic juggler. If you want to see that afterwards, you can do that. But also dropped just on Thursday, it's his latest podcast with Lewis from our staff. So if you didn't know that, we do have a podcast. And so you can tune in to his latest podcast. It's also up on our website. So come on up, Henry.
All right, thank you so much. Would Happy and Susie come on up? I am not the keynote, thank goodness. So as they make their way up, I'm gonna do a very name, rank, serial number intro. But I'm going to start with Happy. What's not in her bio in your packets is that she taught me how to swim. If you can believe that. Yeah. I love telling her this because it's a true story. I grew up in Park Hill at 25th and Dahlia, and I was a member of the East Denver Y. And Happy taught me how to swim. And she's a great teacher because I'm still alive. But Happy, welcome. And then right behind her, Susie Helmerich. So Happy, yes, welcome these two. So I was supposed to say this to the very end, but it's just going to make me nervous. So this is unbelievable. Today is what's today? What day? March. Happy March. Is that a significant day? This is 2 birthdays. So we're gonna have to get for him. I'm gonna spare all this thing. So if you don't know Happy Haynes, you are new to the area. Let me just put it that way. Because she is a legend, Denver City Councilwoman for 13 years. She is now the executive director of Denver Parks and Rec. And to have you here is just wonderful. Her sister, I won't say who's older, who's younger, is on the board. Can you share? Okay, there you are. So I love it. So and then Susie, who I said, Susie, we didn't get your bio because it was too long to put in your packets. It's amazing. If you're a golfer and you don't know Susie, then you haven't been around the game very long. But her title is Director of Pro Shop Operations for the City of Denver. And I said, oh, so you're the Pam of the Pro Shop, because Pam, who oversees the agronomy, and she said, yeah, and she's the Susie of superintendents. So there you go. So to say that women's golf is in a lead role with the city of Denver is pretty much accurate. So we had chatted the other day to get ready for this. We thought a Q&A is always fun. I think Gary meant to say Ed doesn't read, he does like to talk, but I love to ask questions. But on your tables, I think, and if not, they're coming. Thank you, Erin. She's had a lot of balls in the air, speaking of juggling. We want you to ask questions, so I'm going to make sure we save time, because I know when I attend something like this, and I promise you, you're going to have questions, because this is an amazing couple brains we have up here. And one of the problems with asking questions is the introverts don't get to ask, so you just write them down, we'll bring them forward and bring those forward. So the question was going to start with, Happy, I'm already pivoted off script, because we're here at the Denver Botanic Gardens. You're on the board of the Botanic Gardens. Can you just speak to what this place means to our community, the Denver Botanic Gardens?
Yeah, thanks, Ed. We're an extraordinary treasure for our city in the Denver Botanic Gardens. I spent a lot of time here as a kid, and then you're going to notice a theme in a little while. I loved the conservatory, and we would go in and pretend like we were in the jungle, and until we got kicked out, moving around. But this is an amazing institution for families to commune with nature, and the extraordinary research that goes on in this institution is really unparalleled. The staff here is well recognized and well respected around the world. Brian, the executive director, the CEO, has led the National Botanic Gardens organization, and now you heard a little earlier about the amazing partnerships that they're doing with golf courses to sort of reimagine the golf course environment in a way that really makes sure that we're all having fun, but that we're also experiencing nature at its best.
So I meant to do this first. So tell us about your introduction to golf, how you started, and what golf means to you. We should have said that started out.
Yeah, I will. I will start with a confession, which I told Ed the other day. I grew up just across the street, a block from City Park Golf Course, and I walked to school every day, junior high and high school, across the golf course. And so my first introduction to golf was stealing golf balls after they hit the box. And then running madly to get away from the very angry golfers. You know, I didn't take up golf until I was in my mid-30s. And in fact, another confession, I kind of thought it was a stupid game. Like, why would anybody chase around a little white ball? And that's not a real sport. A real sport, you know, despite what we heard today about strength training and all of that, a real sport, it doesn't require strength or agility or speed. Like, what is it? So a very dear friend of mine, Regis Groff, I said, okay, I'm going to show you. And he put a glass on the other end of his office. He, by the way, was also the golf coach at East High School. So he gave me his putter and had me try to get the ball in the glass. And of course, you know, it was really hard, and I didn't make many of them. And then he handed me a 9-iron and said, okay, if that's not enough, go over to City Park with your putter and your 9-iron and spend the day, and then come back and talk to me. And I did that. And I came back hooked, recognizing how difficult it was, what an extraordinary challenge. I hadn't even experienced yet the rowing in a good walk part, really getting out and walking and exercising. But I was hooked from that day, and I played as often as I could. So I joined a women's club at City Park, and I also played with the men because I needed to play twice. For quite a number of years, I played at least twice a week, once with the women and once with the men. You know, the rest is history.
I love golf birth stories, so Susie, tell us yours.
Gosh. Well, first of all, I want to start off by saying, probably the first time for a lot of you to see me without a baseball cap on. Trust me, it's hard for me too, to be up here with my hair down, so. But I was introduced to golf. My brother and I were introduced very young. We were about 3 or 4. And we played all summer with our grandparents. And then we'd go home to our parents and golf wasn't cool. None of our friends played. So I picked up a basketball and thought that would be more fun. After a couple knee surgeries and the fact that I don't like to run, I thought, let's try that golf thing again. That looked like fun. So I got my first job in 1994 at Lone Tree. Go Lone Tree. And I've made it a career. I get to go to work every day. I don't have to go to work. I love everything I do. I've got some really great golf stories of, you know, times in the golf shops, times on the golf course. You know, my favorite, we had a charity tournament at one of the golf courses I was a pro at, and I had to go out and tell an exotic dancer to put her clothes back on. You never know what you're going to get with golf, but both my kids have gone through the Solich Academy, so golf is a huge part of our lives. We talk about it, we eat it, we drink it, we sleep it. So we do a lot of golfing in our house.
Great. Okay, happy. Let's get into kind of the straddling of golf and your day job. Executive Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Denver. So we talked about common denominators between the golf and the Botanic Gardens. And as Joe McCleary says, at a very fundamental level, it's called a plant. You play golf on grass. Golf is an outdoor game. So as in that, look, putting on that hat, which you have, how does golf sort of coexist with the broader community? And what do we as golfers, what should we do as stewards of the game to be respectful of the outdoors and just be better informed?
A great question. I'll start by saying, when I took this job and just found out that it was overseeing golf, I was really ecstatic. And then my staff said, "Don't get too excited. You're not going to have time to play golf." And they were actually right. But what I did have the opportunity to do is to learn about all of the dimensions of golf, the business and the business side of golf, as well as the social benefits that come with people at their favorite club, or even visiting all the golf clubs around the area. But one of the things that I think is really powerful, and it is related to this partnership with Botanic Gardens, is recognizing the value of golf courses as a natural resource. And so, many of them are, so many acres that we count on it in our department for the environmental benefits that they bring to our city. And it was something that I hadn't anticipated. And I used to tell some people, when I drive back and forth to work every day, I come home in the middle of the summer and it'd be hotter than blazes downtown in the concrete jungle. And as soon as I hit City Park, the temperature on my car went down 5 or 6 degrees. And what that told us is that the power of battling climate change, cooling our city, the quality, the air quality that golf courses offer, and now with the renewed interest in bringing more natural environments and natural plants, golf courses are helping people truly connect to nature. And I'm really excited about the fact that they're introducing at so many of our golf courses native Colorado plants. So beyond learning the game, it becomes an educational experience as well. We have several golf courses that are Audubon certified, and so I never thought I'd see the day where, you know, wild animals and golf would mix. And that we'd all fall in love with trees, I have to say, because they're just so beautiful and they create a higher quality of life in our community. And certainly play a profound role in the economics of the city. Everybody knows that if you live near a golf course, the value of the homes and the neighborhood goes up. So really looking at golf as a multiple benefit operation is the best way to think about this. And I'll add just one last thing. So we completed just 2 years ago, Susie, renovations of the city park golf course. And it was done as a storm drainage management project. We ended up with a fabulous golf course. And it has had the effect of saving hundreds of homes that are near the golf course from the flooding that occurred with some of our severe thunderstorms over the last year. So just a tremendous respect for what golf contributes to our overall community.
Great, I've already got a really good question, which I'll save here. Staying with Happy for just one more second. If you don't open a newspaper or go online, you may have not heard about the little controversial thing with Parkville Golf. And we would be remiss if we didn't, because the city of Denver is quite involved in that. And I would love for you to share, again, being careful of it. You're a pretty savvy politician. I'm sure you'll handle it just fine. Just talk about Park Hill from the lens of open space golf. And should we be disappointed in what is in the works, or should we be, what are your reactions to what's going on?
Well, what I'll do is share what the experience is. You reach your own conclusions about the right way to move forward. But you know, the golf course had closed and been closed for a number of years because it was not economically viable for a lot of different reasons. Probably because it was too close to another very popular course. The owners of the golf course were a foundation whose primary mission was to serve low-income children in the Northeast Denver community, and that golf course was built originally, and its purpose was to raise money for this foundation to be able to serve the children. For a number of years, it stopped doing that, and in fact, it was hemorrhaging dollars, and so it closed. And I think the conclusion was, and there were a couple of operators who tried it and failed. And so it became vacant, and it was really, the foundation was in desperate straits, so they sold it to a development group for an amount of money that would really help that foundation for the next 40 or 50 years, continue to be able to serve the children in Northeast Denver that were getting early childhood education, health benefits, a whole range of services. And so I'll fast forward. The process has been one, and I think the way I have in our department approached the process that has gone on now for almost 2 years is that this is an asset for the community, and the planning for it was a community-led process. So and I will say we declined to take over the golf course for the same reasons that it had closed, because it was not economically viable. And so the planning from the community to say, what do we want this place to be? What can this space do? And it's an underserved community. One of our most underserved communities in Denver. And so what came out as options from that planning process were keep it as it is with 155 acres of golf course, or that really can't function as a golf course, or open space, Or as many of the community members wanted, a place that could help fill some needs that they had long, that they have long suffered. One, affordable housing, people whose children couldn't afford to live in the same neighborhood anymore that they had grown up in. They wanted commercial, the neighborhood food desert, and hadn't been able to have access to a grocery store for a long time. There were community members who wanted opportunities for small business activities and so on. So they came up with a plan that tried to balance all of that. I will just say, as a department, I was very gratified by the fact that the number one thing on that list of community needs was, we do want to maintain a lot of open space. This is important to our community. And so the result was a plan that preserved 2/3 of the 155 acres as open space, as a park. And the other 1/3 as a affordable housing, commercial development, and other things that the community felt they needed. So that's the plan that went to city council and was approved. And so it is up to the voters next month to decide whether releasing the conservation easement that was on that to support this new plan will be approved.
Yeah, that's great. Just real quick follow-up, because I know it's coming. Is that vote, just as a question, I don't know the answer, going to be open to all Denver citizens, or is it specific to, I know that's been a criticism. Shouldn't the people in Park Hill be the, is that the?
Yeah, that's a tough issue, and it's been a really sore spot, because this will be the first time ever that a development in one neighborhood or community has to get voted on by everybody, all the neighborhoods in the city. But that ship has sailed. A measure was passed to require the entire city to vote on whether any conservation easement in the city can be lifted. And so that's what the vote is next month.
Very good. So ask and you shall receive. I just got overwhelmed with really good questions. And I'm going to turn to Susie here, even though the sequencing might not be, okay, so some very simple ones. I like this.
Good.
Although it is directed to Happy, but I think it's, no, that one maybe. When will drinking water come back on golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drinking fountains went away for COVID, and it was touch points, and it was all of that. And so we've actually installed ice machines and water machines in our clubhouses with the thought that our guests would bring their own water bottles and take water out on the course with them. We've also have plans to increase the amount of times you see our beverage carts. But the water out on the course not necessarily is going to be the same that it was before. We are getting new restrooms at Overland where we will have a water station there. City Park has water out on the course at both their comfort stations. There's plans to do similar type things at Kennedy as well. And of course, Willis Case already has theirs. So bring your water bottles. We are big fans of that. So we've, like I said, right in our restaurants, we do have ice machines and water machines available to you.
Yeah, I'll stay with you because these are kind of bookend questions. The first one is about engaging younger children in the game, and the other is, and I had a contact lens faux pas this morning, so I'm a little trouble. And that's about engaging active older adults in Denver Parks and Recreation. I love the questions together because they're addressing kind of both ends of the spectrum. So let's start with the younger generation. Maybe you can just sort of talk about first tee. There was another question I'll blend in here about bringing more diversity into the game, and just are we seeing positive effects of, is that working? So maybe let's focus on junior golf first.
Sure. Let's start up with the first tee program. So the first tee of the Rocky Mountains is housed out of City Park Golf Course. It's the third largest chapter in the country. They do quite a bit of in-school programming as well as on our miniature golf courses that we have at Overland, and we have at City Park, and we have at Willis Case. and Welshire. They do quite a bit of programming. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of classes out there with the little guys out there. So that's interesting question though, awful with the older generation too, is that there's so much volunteer opportunity to get, retired gals and guys to come in and help out with those classes and be a part of the first tee programming that they do, not only in school, but also on the golf course as well. We take donations, any of those old clubs, or if you've got a golf ball saver in your house that just keeps collecting golf balls in their garage, bring them to us. We use them with all of our kids. We sell a lot of those clubs out of Harbor Gulch, and all that money goes right back to the first tee. So you're not just selling it to Goodwill or to a different charity like that. You're actually giving it right back to the first tee of Denver. So
As far as older, what are we doing? Another question is to make sure it gets asked properly because I think this is overlooked. We tend to put so much attention on, as we should, the future is our kids. But I just see the health and wellness benefits. We heard Neil talk about it with the 65 and older crowd. Is there initiatives underway to really kind of focus some player development in that space that maybe we're overlooking?
that's a really great question. We do a program called Come Learn and Play, and I'd say the majority of those people that participate in our Come Learn classes are in their 20s or in their 30s, or they've been dragged along with a friend. But we also get a lot of people who are in their 60s or their 70s and have thought, I guess I'm that age, I guess I got to go play golf. And then they get into it and they enjoy it and they really, really embrace it. We have quite a few clubs at all of our golf courses that play in the mornings or play in the afternoons that welcome all ages and welcome all ability levels to come out and join with leagues and clubs and that type of thing. But it seems like the one person that we all run into on the golf course is the bro, right? The guy who tees up from the tips and has no idea what he's doing. And I'm going to say he's sorry for the men in the room, but those are the people I wish would take lessons because they would understand, they would enjoy the game more if they played the correct tees and played the game the way it's meant to be. But they're something against lessons. But we do a ton of clinics and teaching of new people to the game, and it sells out every year and it continues to sell out.
Great. Okay, we have a bunch of questions about Kennedy. So be careful because again, it's funny because I love the way this is. The renovation of City Park is wonderful. Now tell us, when are you going to start working on Kennedy? Lots of Kennedy people out here. I didn't realize this is awesome. What are the plans for the Kennedy Part 3? And this other question kind of ties in. It says, I'll come to that one actually a little bit differently. It says, do you foresee any of the Denver courses being sacrificed for other parks and rec purposes? When will Kennedy undergo renovation? So let's kind of bundle all that and say, what is the sort of infrastructure plan for other City of Denver courses? And this is always a fear factor. Are we going to close courses? When Overland hosted, which I thought was wonderful personally, a music concert series, I thought that was a great example of creative use of open space and a win-win because all the proceeds benefited golf. So what would you say to the Kennedy lovers out there?
Well, Susie probably knows better than I know. We're involved in a planning effort as we speak, a master planning effort. It hasn't happened in quite a while with Kennedy and several other of our courses. And so that plan is underway. I will say how golf operates in Denver is an enterprise fund, which means that it operates solely with its own resources. So the golf courses do not get any funds, general fund dollars, or very few. In fact, they're limited under Tabor for getting more than a handful of normal taxpayer dollars because it is an enterprise fund. So all of the upgrades and changes and renovations have to be generated by the revenue that comes from golf overall. And And it's a challenge. And for any of you who knows Scott Replik, our director of golf, he is really a pity pitcher. But he's an extraordinary financial steward who recognizes that to reinvest in golf means really balancing the financial strategies that enable us to keep up. And I will say his view is first and foremost, keeping what we have at least playable and keeping it maintained. So long range plans for major upgrades to our golf courses is a huge challenge. And he socks away money in the budget, his budget every year to work towards some of those more extensive kinds of renovations and changes. So stay tuned. I think the good news is they're actually working on the plan. So that says that sometime in the future, we may see some big changes there.
Does it surprise you to get a question about the par 3 at Kennedy? Is there how is the par 3 doing? I'm a huge fan of par 3 golf. I think it's fantastic. I'm a huge fan of municipal golf. I grew up in City Park. It's the most affordable golf in any community. And where would we be without municipal golf? It's the on-ramp for so many people. But it's an interesting question, sort of.
I think if you're a Denver golfer, you have a lot of opportunities to grow your own game, starting at Harbor Gulch, which is maintained by our superintendent from Welshire. So it has the exact same standards that all of our regulation size 18 golf courses have, which are incredible. If you've played at Harbor Gulch, those are some really great greens and a great place to work on your short game. From there, you advance to the par 3 at Kennedy, which is a little bit longer, has a lot more elevation changes, and again, is maintained the exact same way that our regulation 9s are maintained over there as well. You get comfortable there, you graduate to one of our 9-hole courses or our 18-hole courses. So to grow your own game in Denver golf, it's very easy to do. I teach a lot of classes at Kennedy's par 3. And I love it. It's a great walk. You're getting a lot of exercise going up and down those hills. And it's a really great challenge. It's going to continue to be a part of the master plan. So that part of the community really enjoys that whole facility as a whole. It gets used a lot. And obviously, if you've played there, you've seen the foot golf out there, the foot golf hole. And we have a couple of foot golf leagues that are taking advantage of that space as well. So it's a great property, place to play if you haven't played there.
Okay, and this is from Zoom. So thank you to our virtual audience for participating. And it may not apply necessarily to Denver, but both, I'm sure, be interested in your thoughts. It says the Colorado Springs area lost 4 courses over 20 years. I was trying to think what those would be. And it was Springs Ranch, Glen Eagle Country Club. I'm not sure what the others are. Apple Tree, Silver Spruce. Wow, that's true. So have you seen an impact to Denver courses in reaction to this? Have you seen all these displaced golfers finding their way up to Denver? And are there plans to build more courses in the area? I can maybe address that last part, but go ahead.
I'll take this one. It's really hard to tell with COVID what closing courses have done to our number of players, because as you know, our courses are sold out. How hard is it to get a tee time, right? Unless you're in our ladies club or a men's club, or you have a loyalty card, you get 14 days there. So it's hard to see what impact closing courses have had. I know when we opened City Park, we were able to absorb a lot of really great guests from Park Hill. We absorbed a ladies league that came over from Park Hill, who's become a really big part of what we are at City Park. So again, it's just hard to say because we're just so busy, and I don't see that slowing down in the next couple of years. I mean, we've introduced golf to so many people during COVID who thought that was the only thing you could do, and it was the only thing you could do. You're socially distanced, and we still get a lot of those people haven't left the game yet. They're still a part of our tee sheets and of our clubs. So it's going to be a little bit until at least I see our tee sheets slow down.
Okay. I would just say the last part of that, supply and demand in golf globally is correcting itself. And our market, like any market, has got its unique ecosystem. We did, I was talking over lunch about a new project going in northeast of Denver called Rodeo Dunes, which is gonna, if you think of Bandit Dunes, think Rodeo Dunes. The Kaiser Empire is bringing links golf to not too far up there in the north of Denver. That's a very different thing. I mean, when you look at golf and the supply and demand, you need to talk about what is the price point. And I think what we really continue to need is affordable golf. So we'll see. So this is the question I meant to ask earlier, and then we'll wrap up here. We won't keep this going all day. Although I know I could. Water, the sustainability. We saw a lot of news. I'm sure this question may have come from Aurora citizen who saw the city of Aurora saying no more golf. It's just not sustainable. The USGA is really getting very active in this and recognizing that this is the biggest threat that is threatening the game. So what is your view happening on water sustainability and how that relates to not just, well, to Parks and Rec in general and golf specifically?
A great question, and I'll move a little bit back to what I was saying earlier. You have to look at the big picture. Water is an extraordinarily scarce resource today. I mean, you all know we're in drought conditions, maybe except this year. But overall, we've been in drought conditions. So it really has required that we do what we can with our practices to ensure that we're protecting this water resource. And we do get pressure from people, that's a waste of water, and so on. It's one of the reasons why introducing more natural turf, and that's an intention of ours, and that is to bad news for those of you who have trouble like me of keeping your ball on the fairway. And so narrowing those, bringing more natural elements into the golf courses is not only makes it more interesting, it certainly happened at City Park in their renovation, but it also helps us to balance that water conservation objective. We're doing lots of other things. I mean, we are working on our irrigation systems, and our very undervalued work and resource in golf courses or in our parks directly. Nobody pays any attention. It's like your drain pipes, nobody pays attention to that until your toilet doesn't work, and then you recognize the value of it. And same thing with our irrigation system. So we have invested a lot in upgrading our irrigation systems to be more efficient and to save water and to respond to the climate conditions literally on a day-to-day basis. So, introducing central control features that our golf superintendents and staff can literally operate from home as needed. Very, very important. We have a couple of golf courses that are on recycled water. We have a huge partnership with Denver Water. We are Denver Water's in our park system. We are Denver Water's largest customer. Of all the water that they supply throughout the metro area, Denver Parks and Recreation is their largest customer. And so we recognize our obligation to help conserve more and more water. And I think we're doing some pretty cutting edge things, especially in our golf courses, to help demonstrate what can happen to keep a good open space environment, because we need the plants. We need the other environmental benefits that golf courses bring, and to try to balance that with water conservation.
So as much as I hate to have to wrap earlier, because we have our board meeting, so we'll have to, but I'll get out two final questions for each of you. And these are maybe not be a good last question, but I'll ask them. So for Susie, tell us about your view of golf pricing, dynamic pricing. This has been a major talk among golf operators. And how does that compete with or relate to keeping golf affordable? If you don't know what dynamic pricing is, maybe explain what that means.
As I'm sure you all have experienced, Denver Golf has gone to dynamic pricing similar to what hotels do, similar to what airlines do. It's to maximize revenue at our busiest times and then also offer affordability at times that aren't as busy. So if you're finding that at 10 o'clock on a Saturday is expensive, that's our max time. That's when we have found that we're the busiest in terms of demand. So we charge the most on those busiest times. A Thursday afternoon or a Wednesday morning, the price goes down. So that's what dynamic pricing is. A lot more courses, not only throughout Denver, but across the country have really adapted and have gone to dynamic pricing as well. But as we all experience in the grocery stores, in our daily lives, everything's gone up. I mean, we're not talking just eggs. Everything has gone up in price. Fertilizer, you know, all the treatments that we do to our golf courses, merchandise and golf carts and everything that we supply to our guests at our golf courses, those prices have gone up. And so that's why you're seeing a little bit of increase in our golf fees. We are still the most affordable golf in Denver. We do surveys all the time. We call your golf courses all the time and secret shop them and put together numbers and find that we're still right in the middle or towards the low end of pricing. So I just want you to know that we are very conscious of our pricing and what we charge folks.
Thank you, and so happy I'm going to give you, we're going to come full circle. I'm going to weave the last question into kind of going back where you started as a young kid chasing, going across City Park. So what about the next Happy Haynes? Are we, and this is a golf question, not a truck to narrow it. Are we doing a better job reaching people of color and introducing them into the game at an earlier age? Have we moved the needle so when you hang up your career and you look back and feel pretty good about we've made a dent, we've made progress?
Absolutely. I think we have. I think we have a long way to go still. But we're making a huge dent with our first tee program and our junior golf program. As Susie mentioned, we're the second largest in the country. And it has a very solid focus on introducing golf to those who've been underserved, for folks who haven't thought about it, for young people. We have a very diverse program. I'm very pleased to say that nearly half, not quite there yet, of our young golfers who are served, and that's 11,000 kids a year, are girls. In fact, I forgot to bring it up here. I brought my girls in golf hat, which is how our first tee program actually got started in City Park back in the day. It was running a girls in golf program to try to get girls interested. And the affordability piece is really important. So, you know, our junior courses are open. You can't get on those unless you bring a child. It's free to children, and it's consistent with other things we're doing throughout our department. Our kids from 5 to 18 have free access to all of our recreation centers, as well, by the way, of individuals who are 60 and old. So our mission is to make accessibility and affordability the most important component of our program. And we work hard to keep the diversity of those programs. And I'll tell you the real secret, the secret about that is the young children, the girls and boys, so the girls especially, I mean, they take to it and then become teachers. So the mentors, they come to the program, they learn the game, they love it. And then they love to come back and teach the younger children. It's been particularly true of girls. And in that opportunity to come back and share what you've learned as a youngster is what's going to hook so many of our children. All colors, very diverse, almost halfway there on girls in the program. And that's going to make a difference when we're talking about, you asked the question about golf courses that may be vulnerable to people thinking we should do other things. Well, you know, selfishly, these programs are designed to help build our pipeline and make it more diverse to bring new people into the game. That's what's going to save and grow golf across our city, across our state.
It does. What a great way to wrap up. How about a round of applause? And we always like to have a little gift for our keynote speakers, but this time we actually have birthday presents, I guess. What do you think? Should we sing happy birthday? Yes, Kate, you want to start us off? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
All right, well, I want to thank all of you guys for coming out today. Also, really quick, one last thank you to our CGA staff. They're down here, everything but we give them a round of applause. They've been working behind the scenes, running our Zoom, and making sure that everyone knew how to get in, and then they're gonna help me take all this down. So thank you guys. We look forward to seeing you this season, and we will see you next year, hopefully right back in this room for our 2024 Women's Summit.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking mine.